Hey guys, for the win here. Today I want to talk about something that I think might happen. It's gonna be a lot of speculation and not really based on anything solid. But I definitely see a trend starting to appear in the industry, so I want to share it with you and get your opinion on it. So what I've been noticing recently is that games from indie developers have started to do really well. And big AAA titles in the industry have not been doing so well. Games like SimCity and recently Square Enix just came out and said that they're disappointed with the sales of Hitman Absolution and Tomb Raider and Sleeping Dogs, which were like their three big AAA titles that they came out with last year, and all of them sold like millions of copies. Like I think it was probably averaging around like 3 million. But they cost a lot to make, so they weren't really happy with the sales figures. I think they thought they were gonna sell more, but that ended up not happening. And as a result of that, the CEO of Square Enix stepped down. And this is basically right after John Riccitiello from EA, the EA CEO, he steps down. So you're starting to get into this like really strong pattern of AAA titles not selling as well as people think that they're gonna sell, and indie games starting to like push back in this huge wave of support and just absolutely freaking exploding in popularity recently. And especially with Kickstarter, games on that are, I guess, sort of like old school games. They were game franchises that were around in like the 90s and the 80s, I think even like the 70s, that sort of died out after a while. But they still have like a huge fan base, and no one's made a sequel. So when somebody comes on Kickstarter and it's like, yeah, I want to make a sequel to this game, they get a ton of support and they get a ton of money to start funding their project. I mean, granted, it's probably nowhere near as much as like Hitman Absolution got or Tomb Raider or anything, but it just goes to show that if someone has a creative idea, they have the support of the community pretty much. So I guess the question now becomes is, indie games for the next generation, are they gonna start to sort of take over part of the market from the AAA titles? Are big companies like the publishers like Square Enix and EA, are they gonna stop making as many AAA titles as they used to and start going into more of like an indie, independent, low budget sort of I don't know, game creation phase, where they just make low-budget games and sales figures don't really matter all that much because they didn't really spend a ton on the game? Honestly, that's where I think it's gonna go. If you watch the recent, it was like a couple of interviews with like Sony developers or whatever. Sony's making a huge push to bring in the indie crowd. And I'm kind of wondering if they saw this coming too, that there's going to be a lot of indie games sort of dominating the market later on in this year and this, you know, in the future. So it should be really interesting. I think this whole entire phase pretty much started with Minecraft. Once Minecraft exploded, then you get like games like FTL start to gain a ton of popularity, and then Kickstarter comes around, and now everybody knows about these indie games, and if they get like a wave of support, they sell like hotcakes. So I don't know. I see a shift. I'm kind of nervous about AAA titles, like not coming out as often. But I think if they start out with like an indie game, like a low budget game, and then it does well, personally, I kind of see that sort of initializing the development of that game to become like a bigger AAA title. So like FTL, if that did really good, they could make an FTL 2 and maybe just absolutely like revamp everything and have a way larger budget, a way larger team. It was made by like 2 guys. So now that they have all the funding from the first game, they can go on and make the second game. And that's kind of what I kind of want to see happen. But I don't want to see original AAA titles go away either. Like Mirror's Edge, that was one of my favorite games. And I don't really think that could have been made on like $1 million budget, which sounds like a lot, but really, if you're trying to make a big game, it's basically nothing. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I don't know. It's just pretty much speculation at this point. But I thought it was kind of a cool idea. I thought I'd share it with you. So, what's your opinion on this? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and that's about it. So I will see you guys later. Peace.